Hello, welcome to the final part of this YouTube poop commentary, in which we migrate from part 6, a part which I feel could have been improved by a lot, into part 7 here, a part which I actually feel is actually a very decent, it's actually pretty damn good. I don't know why. Maybe within the months of 2009, 9 years ago ironically, I must have had some sort of brain blast. And as for this area of the stages of Rory Batty's lair, it's sort of a parody of that Robot Chicken sketch based on the similar concept of the 5 stages of death. The 5 stages of grief, sorry. And this one, Auditory Hallucinations, I originally had it as hallucinatory hearings, not knowing what the proper term was, until someone on YouTube clarified it for me. Anyways, I wasn't interested in going through the I just noticed I spelled revelation wrong there. As for this joke, I wasn't really interested in going by the traditional 5 stages of grief, instead substituting my own funnier interpretation, not to mention part 6, companionship. And I noticed just now I may have spelled Eeyore's name wrong. It's with one E at the beginning. Usually, based on what I've heard, it's 2 E's. So, in Eeyore. Not Eeyore, Eeyore. And now we see the return of Rory Batty, or so we think. Coming up soon. And this bit where he smashes into the wall without breaking should be your first clue to this Rory Batty's true identity, as you will find out soon. And the countdown here, I felt there just had to be a countdown before an epic reveal coming up here. Using audio from Atlantis, The Last Empire up till now. Honestly, I wish I would have made a bare shadow full fucking Batman there, possibly taking it from the animated series, of which I didn't get into, and that thunder should have been the classic DC thunder. The Castle Thunder, if you know what I'm saying. And you see this Rory Batty fall down using basically I took still images onto a JPG file on Photoshop and then moved them slightly down, similar to stop motion, in which if you can see some of my other videos, especially my Bionicle related content, in which I have more than a little experience with this genre. And I always felt Tigger should have gone up the roof there. And this is a dated joke based on the swine flu outbreak that was going on at the time. And in this area, Rabbit says that he found out that he's a smart fellow. And in the Peter Griffin scene earlier, it has Meg saying a similar thing, and then Peter Griffin takes the words around and says, "You're a fart smello." So, there. And here is the world record bounce. Tigger just had to go out to outer space. And listen closely here. Christopher Robin just said, "I was at Gotham." Basically, what I wanted to imply was that Christopher Robin actually became the Robin to Batman. And for a long time it drove me crazy. How do I efficiently communicate that? In the end I decide, come on, it's a YouTube poop. You can get away with cheap ass stuff. For example, just showing an image of Robin and saying, yeah, that Robin, right there. In the end I decide, fuck it. Pardon the language. It's a YouTube poop. You can get away with this shit. Now originally it was here that Christopher Robin finds out of the Skelosaurus, but since the Skelosaurus has been disproved, there's nowhere else to go but here. And And as for those of you who are wondering what were the other stages between stage 6 and stage 84, I have made a list, but honestly, I've forgotten about it. And honestly, it's better off left to the imagination. And honestly, the addition of Link in this particular scene is pretty damn neat because it provides Pooh someone to legitimately talk to and someone for false Roy Batty to fall upon. And this was long before I even heard of the nostalgia credit and all that bad credit card craziness. It was just an innocent idea like, hey, if Batman has all of these gadgets with the name Bat on them, why don't he have one called a Bat Honeypot? And this joke, with Pooh falling and crashing, was supposed to be a little longer, with Pooh with having text saying, "Rest in peace, Pooh." But in the end, I felt that was too mean, especially for such a beloved character such as Winnie the Pooh. I mean, I just got back from seeing the recent Christopher Robin, which features Ewan McGregor playing the title role, in which he reunites with Pooh and his friends. It's funny because, as you might have seen earlier, his head makes an appearance as the Super Space Station, and this "you spin me round," more accurately, "you roll me round." And there's Robin in Robin form. I'd honestly would be interested in seeing Christopher Robin's crime-fighting adventures with Batman. I would like someone else to make a YouTube poopa off of it. And now we reach the end of part 7, in which for the full-length release, compiling all 8 parts together, I had to cut out the epic cliffhanger, which ends part 7. And originally, it was gonna end in part 7 with Pooh and his friends noticing something in a very similar manner to this. But instead of that Ewan McGregor head as the Super Space Station, it would be Roy Batty flying his Skelesaurus 9000 airplane, and it crashes onto Winnie the Pooh and his friends, and then it ends with Homer Simpson. And now part 8 is something which I will admit is very rushed. These areas, the sentence mixing, I feel I agree with those reading should have been done a lot more clearer. At the time, my only defense was that I was addicted to this game called Team Fortress 2, and at the time it took a lot of productivity away from me. From this. It took a lot of productivity from what I could be doing this. And in the end I decided to I decided over one day to just finish the damn thing and just have it done and uploaded. So again, more fodder for a special edition. And as for Tajamaru, who will be making an appearance very soon, it was based on me making up this whole new idea for the ending, in which Roy actually confronts Pooh and his friends and tries to attack them. I felt Tajamaru. I realized that Tajamaru leaving Pooh and his friends at school was kind of a dick move, and that he had to come back. He had to come back, sort of like Han. He had to come back and save Pooh and his friends. Sort of like Han Solo in the very first Star Wars film, in which he basically takes the money and just leaves, only to come back and save Luke Skywalker from Darth Vader in that climactic battle. And honestly, these these kind of drag on a bit, yes. So yeah, but honestly, it's not too bad. And as for a part which I feel could have been improved a lot, I honestly have to say that this bit coming up, the ending, how Winnie the Pooh defeats Roy Batty, is pure and absolute gold. Here I am using both Avatar and Lord of the Rings now. In this bit, I find to be absolutely hilarious way to end Roy Batty without making Pooh seem like a murderer. It was around this time I have grown past part 3, in which I've described Rabbit as being hyper Fred style, referring to this character sadly, and by this time, I sort of realized what an obnoxious bastard Fred is, and honestly, this is one of my favorite moments of all time. Oh my god. I don't mean to sound like some cheap ass laughing at my own jokes, but seriously, this is funny. However, I do feel that this, with the reveal of Homer Simpson, as I planned from day one, it's done a little sloppy. And is even now in its shortened version. I'm not a fan of how Homer Simpson turned up here. But this last line is great, but I did intend to sort of have a truly end with a recap of the beginning, but in the end, I was running out of time, so I was on a quick urge to end it. So maybe you'll see more in the special edition. Thank you. It's been a wonderful ride. So there, that was the only Pooh's Grand Adventure poop anyone has ever made. And hey, this is legal in 7 states if my knowledge is right, including where I live, Vermont. And would you believe that this had nothing to do with the making of my YouTube poop masterpiece. I was 15 to 17 back then. And besides, if I did, it would have messed up my brain. That is, if our brains aren't already messed up. So anyways, looking back at all those stupid repetitions and all those childish jokes, down to the level of kindergarten, basically the equivalent of taking a decent piece of artwork and scribbling a lot of funny bits all over it. Do I consider it art? And to that, the answer I would have to say is yes. I hate to sound like Chris Chan, another infamous autistic, who one of his first ideas into infamy is basically trying to promote his childish Sonic Shoe comics as legitimate art. Now I'm not trying to sound like him, but seriously, if you consider TV shows like Bottom to be a legitimate form of art, then absolutely yes, can you call Pooh's Grand Adventure a legitimate form of art? And keep in mind, Bottom is a TV show which features men farting fire out of their arses. And I am not making that up. Well, stay tuned for my other videos, and I hope you've enjoyed this retrospective of the only Pooh's Grand Adventure poop anyone has ever made. Give my channel a subscribe and like some more of my other videos. Have a good day, everyone.